Ever wondered why you might feel lonely even when surrounded by people? Welcome to the intricate puzzle of loneliness, a feeling that stretches far beyond the simple state of being alone. Loneliness is a complex emotion, a psychological state that can persist even when you're in a crowd. It's a feeling that can sneak up on you in moments of joy, seep into your thoughts during periods of stress, and linger in the background of your everyday life. Imagine a crowded room. People are laughing, talking, sharing stories. You're there, right in the middle, surrounded by the buzz of conversation. Yet you might feel an inexplicable sense of isolation. You're physically present, but emotionally, you're miles away. This is the paradox of loneliness. You can be alone in a crowd, feeling disconnected even when connection is all around you. Loneliness is not just an absence of company, it's a disconnect between the relationships we have and those we yearn for. It's the gap between our expectations of social interaction and the reality we experience. It's the silent voice in our head whispering that we're alone, even when evidence to the contrary surrounds us. In our journey through life, we all encounter loneliness in one form or another. For some, it's a transient feeling, a momentary pang of isolation that passes like a cloud. For others, it can be a persistent shadow, a constant companion that colors their perception of the world. But why do we feel lonely? What is it about this emotion that can make us feel isolated even in a sea of people? Understanding the complexity of loneliness is like solving an intricate puzzle. It's a journey into the heart of our emotions, a deep dive into the human psyche. Loneliness is not a one-size-fits-all emotion. It's unique to each of us, shaped by our experiences, our relationships, and our perception of the world. It's an emotion that can teach us about ourselves, about our needs and desires, and about the importance of genuine connection. Loneliness is not just about being alone. It is a deeper, complex emotion that can impact us in ways we might not realize. As we navigate life's twists and turns, understanding the puzzle of loneliness can help us better understand ourselves and the world around us. Do you know your brain reacts differently when you are lonely? Loneliness is not just a simple feeling of being alone. It's a complex emotional state that our brain processes in unique ways. When we experience loneliness, it's as if our brain flips a switch, triggering a series of psychological responses. Let's start with the basics. Humans are social creatures by nature. Our ancestors survived and thrived by banding together in groups. So our brains evolved to encourage social interaction and discourage isolation. When we're alone for extended periods, our brains perceive it as a threat, similar to hunger or physical pain. This triggers a stress response, flooding our bodies with cortisol, often referred to as the stress hormone. Now, an occasional surge of cortisol is not a problem. It's a part of our body's fight or flight response, preparing us for potential dangers. But when loneliness becomes chronic, this response gets stuck in the on position, leading to a constant stream of cortisol in our system. This can wreak havoc on our mental health, leading to anxiety, depression, and other mental health disorders. Furthermore, our brain's response to loneliness doesn't stop there. It also impacts our cognitive functions. Have you ever noticed how your mind seems to go into overdrive when you're feeling lonely, causing you to overthink or become overly self-conscious? That's because loneliness can heighten our self-focus and self-preservation instincts, making us more aware and critical of our own behaviors and thoughts. Lastly, loneliness can distort our perception of social situations. It can make us perceive social interactions as more threatening or negative than they actually are, creating a vicious cycle where our fear of rejection or judgment drives us further into isolation. So while loneliness might seem like a simple emotion on the surface, it's actually a complex psychological state that can significantly impact our mental health. It's not just about feeling alone, but about how our brains process and respond to that feeling. As we can see, loneliness is not just an emotion, but a state that can significantly impact our mental health. Can technology and our modern lifestyle contribute to loneliness? In our contemporary era where technology reigns supreme, we find ourselves paradoxically more connected, yet more alone. We are at a point where we can reach out to someone thousands of miles away with just a tap on a screen, yet we often feel distant from those around us. The advent of technology has transformed the way we communicate and interact. We've moved from face-to-face conversations to text messages, emails, and video calls. While these advancements have made our lives more convenient, they have also created a virtual barrier between us and the rest of the world. Our interactions have become more impersonal, and as a result we may feel more isolated. The sociological perspective of loneliness paints a vivid picture of this dilemma. It suggests that as our society becomes more individualistic, our sense of community diminishes. We are encouraged to be self-reliant, independent, and self-sustaining, often at the expense of our social connections. Our modern lifestyle, with its emphasis on productivity and efficiency, leaves little room for genuine human interaction. In this digital age, we find ourselves constantly bombarded by an endless stream of information and stimuli. Social media platforms designed to connect us often do the opposite. The constant comparison with others' curated lives can lead to feelings of inadequacy and loneliness. We are in a crowd, yet we feel alone. We have hundreds of followers, yet we feel unseen. This is the paradox of our interconnected world. We are surrounded by people, yet we feel alone. We have access to endless information, yet we feel uninformed. We have the ability to connect with anyone, anytime, yet we often feel disconnected. But it's important to remember, this is not an indictment of technology or modern lifestyle. It's an exploration of how our societal structures and habits might unintentionally contribute to feelings of loneliness. It's an invitation to reflect on our habits, to consciously cultivate meaningful connections, and to seek balance in our lives. Our modern, interconnected world, ironically, can sometimes make us feel more isolated and lonely. Did you know that loneliness can affect your physical health too? It's a statement that rings true, as loneliness extends its reach beyond the realm of emotions and into the physical body. The physiological impacts of loneliness can be as tangible as the mental ones, and they're just as vital to understand. You see, when we experience chronic feelings of isolation, our bodies respond in kind. We're wired for connection after all, and when those connections are lacking, our bodies sound the alarm. One of the primary ways this manifests is through a weakened immune system. Our bodies, under the constant stress of loneliness, produce more cortisol, a hormone linked to stress. This overproduction can suppress our immune systems, making us more susceptible to illnesses and infections, but the impact doesn't stop there. Loneliness can also lead to heart disease. Yes, you heard that right. The heart, our symbol of love and connection, can bear the brunt of our loneliness. The stress and anxiety that often accompany loneliness can increase blood pressure, which in turn can lead to heart disease. Additionally, loneliness can lead to other health problems like poor sleep quality and even obesity. When we're lonely, we might find ourselves tossing and turning at night, unable to find restful sleep. This lack of quality sleep can lead to a host of health problems, including a higher risk of obesity. Some studies have even linked loneliness to a shorter lifespan. Now it's important to remember that these are potential effects, not guarantees. Not everyone who experiences loneliness will face these health issues, but understanding the potential physical implications of loneliness can help us better comprehend this complex emotion. In essence, our bodies and minds are interconnected. Our emotions, including loneliness, can have a profound impact on our physical health. It's a reminder that our well-being is holistic, encompassing both our mental and physical states. Loneliness, it seems, doesn't just upset our mental balance, but can also have serious implications for our physical health. It's a sobering reality, but one that underscores the importance of connection, compassion, and understanding in our lives. So, how can we navigate through loneliness and foster meaningful connections? Let's dive into this. Coping with loneliness is a journey, not a destination. It's about understanding our feelings and taking steps to build connections that sustain us. Scientific research provides us with several strategies to cope with loneliness. Firstly, acknowledging our loneliness is crucial. Denying it or pushing it away only intensifies the feeling. Instead, we can view loneliness as a signal, much like hunger or thirst, alerting us to a need that requires our attention. Once we've acknowledged our loneliness, we can then take steps to address it. One effective way is through social interaction. This doesn't necessarily mean surrounding ourselves with people all the time. It's about quality, not quantity. Forming meaningful connections with people who understand and support us can significantly reduce feelings of loneliness. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds great, but how do I form these meaningful connections? Well, it begins with shared experiences. Participating in activities that you enjoy not only brings you happiness but also provides an opportunity to meet like-minded individuals. It could be joining a book club, a sports team, or even volunteering for a cause close to your heart. These shared experiences can be the foundation for those genuine connections we're talking about. Maintaining our social health also plays a vital role in navigating loneliness. Just like physical health, social health requires regular care and attention. This means regularly checking in with friends and family, being there for them in times of need, and allowing them to be there for you too. Finally, It's okay to seek professional help if feelings of loneliness persist. Therapists and counselors are trained to help us navigate these complex emotions and can provide valuable tools and strategies to manage loneliness. As we navigate through the complexities of loneliness, it's important to remember that meaningful connections and social health are key to overcoming it.